thanks for dropping by. Do you ever get days where you get so far through and you think, I've had enough, I'm not going to do anything else? Well, I got to that point about half an hour ago and realised I hadn't done my video. So I haven't quite had enough. Very close. What put the mockers on it, I was getting on with stuff and I was dealing with the emails coming in with the pictures for the virtual table competition that I do every month. Go away, fly. And you know, I had one person, you send one picture of the blooms, because that's all that's going to get judged, unless you think the whole plant or part of the plant should be included. That's your choice, one picture. You tell me which class it's going to be in and you send it to the appropriate email. So far today we've had 2 with no class on, so I've had to go back to the old newsletters and find out what class they were in. We've had one sent 4 pictures in of 2 plants to my personal email address, not to the actual email address that goes with BTD. So I had to forward that to myself effectively. You'd think nothing could be simpler, but people just seem to make a pig's ear of it every time. One person took 3 attempts to get their... Whoa. That sounds loud. There's a motorbike outside. One person took 3 attempts to actually get their picture attached to an email and sent to me. I despair sometimes. If I've got 3 things to remember, 1 picture, what class you're in, name of your plant. Why is that so difficult? Anyway, I was sitting there dealing with that, getting to the point where I sort of thought, nearly had enough today. And there was this almighty crash. And I looked round and I couldn't see anything. And it was a big crash, you know, like something major's happened. But these glass windows here are getting quite grubby now. And from up the other end of the room, you get a haze. So I couldn't really see into the grow room. I could see shapes. And there were 2 shapes distinctly missing. The fans had fallen down, both of them. Now they're only held up by wires on screws. And one of the thick wires had actually just snapped. It's probably just continuous vibration, but it had actually snapped. So both fans had keeled over and crashed down onto the floor. So these sort of semicircular shapes were just missing. They were down, landed on the heater, knocked over my Oncidium, that didn't damage it. So that was good. So I had to hastily put it back together, and basically all I did was join the wire back together with the pliers, just sort of wrapped it round, and it seems okay. Seems okay. So far so good. Yeah, it's sort of okay. It's all switched off at the moment, obviously. The trip to Burnham's is definitely on. There's no bad weather forecast or anything daft like that. And Sean, I've arranged to meet Sean at our breakfast stop to hand over his plants. And Litta is going to meet us at Burnham's to take her plants. So that's 2 lots of plants delivered on Tuesday. And Litta said it's okay if she doesn't actually make it on that day, I can leave them with Sarah and she'll pick them up on another day. So that's 2 people organised. Derek's plants, somehow or other, one plant sort of got in the in the wrong set, but I think I've sorted it out. I repotted 10, yeah? So what's left hasn't been repotted. That should be pretty simple, shouldn't it? Except for in my notes I only had 9 repotted, so I had to find the one that was repotted and wasn't in the notes. So I don't know, I've just had one of them days. And my bread didn't turn out as good as usual. It didn't rise up quite as much as it normally does. So instead of being sort of a nice light texture, it's a little bit cakey. But it still makes good toast. What the heck. Right, I've got no real subject for today, but what I thought I'd do is we'll just have a look at a few plants. We don't seem to do that as often. Blooms, yes, but not necessarily plants. So some of these will have blooms on, but I'm starting that early, and I don't care. You got a problem with that? We've got this one up here. This is Epidendrum lanipes. This has been sitting here doing nothing for a considerable amount of time, and now we've got two new growths. There's one up the, how can I get that? There's one up the back, up here, and one down here. And the base of this cane is splitting, so there's going to be another one. So it looks like three new growths this year. That's before I finish the wiring. So that's good. This is the one, oh, I got this, must have been a long time ago now because of the lockdowns and everything, at a Christmas do. So that must have been 2019 I got this. And it was a raffle, you know, a ticket came out in the raffle. So, and Milan put that in. So it was one of his originally. But it's one that I've not looked up, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait. It'll either flower or it won't, and when it does, you know, we'll see the blooms. I like that sort of thing sometimes. The Jenkinsii, I think this is going to have to be my entry into the competition, even though it's not blooming quite as well as it did last year. Quite a few of the blooms have got caught up under leaves, which is unusual. Most of the ones up this end are open now, and up this end of the plant there's hardly any blooms, despite being quite a lot of new growth. And all that is it's where it was hung last year, it was facing that end like that, but up on that rack. Yeah? This winter it's spent facing that way, up on this rack. Well, on this rack there's not much light comes in this direction, it comes in from more around there. And if you could imagine the light coming in at that angle, yeah, which end of the plant gets all the light? Which end of the plant can't you see at the moment? If you were the sun looking in the window, you can't see that end, can you? It's in shadow. It's in its own shadow because of that dramatic curve. So that end of the plant didn't get the bright light in the winter. Does it need the cold temperatures? Perhaps not necessarily. But if it don't get the bright light, it don't bloom as good. So I've only half a plant's worth of blooms this time round. Just imagine if that had been, you know, if it had been like that over the whole plant, it would have been quite a spectacle. But I still think I can take a picture of it like that, like you're seeing now, and in the photograph nobody will know that the other half of the plant hasn't got any blooms on. So I've got till the end of today to put my entry in. Well, strictly speaking, I've got till tomorrow morning because I'm in charge and I don't send the pictures off to the judges till the Monday morning. But I won't have the light in the morning, so I'll get on and take that picture in a minute, and that'll be my entry. But I'm still wondering, could I get away with putting this in? Are these blooms open enough? Now this will be fun trying to photograph this because of its sheer size. It'll be a long skinny photo, won't it? But they're not all open properly, and they're not going to be now. You know, what I've got is what I've got. I've got buds up here not open at all, and quite a few buds are not fully open. I can't put that in. But I tell you what I can do, as soon as they are fully open, that can be next month's. So that'd be good. That's got a nice single new cane coming. You're a one cane at a time merchant, you are, aren't you? For an amount of time, it's just done the one cane a year. But it is a big cane. I mean, this cane is longer than any cane on the plant. And it's in bloom literally from up here, right the length of the cane. So I'm pleased with that. That's good. Let me just put that there because I want to get the next one down. Now this looks a right scruffy flipping tatty object this year. It's because it didn't get tidied. And sometimes tidying the old canes is not a good idea. This is Hercoglossum. All the new growth is up here. That's this stuff up here. There might be an odd bloom or two in this area, but unlikely. The blooms are in this area down here, and there's buds all over the place. It is a mass of buds. Practically every cane I pick up has got spikes on down this area. You know, every single one. Doesn't matter. And even some of these with very few leaves left. And down here are the old leafless ones. They've been leafless a while. If I'd trimmed them off, I'd be losing blooms. Yeah, look, they've all got spikes on. So this is going to be quite a show. Got spikes everywhere. And a lot are at a similar stage. Some are a bit behind. But yeah, I'm sort of pleased I didn't tidy this up really, because even on these really old tatty ones that are starting to shrivel, I've got spikes coming. So that's going to be good. Soon. Coming soon. I won't get that one. Oh, I won't get that one down because too much of a hassle. The next one, the Friedrichianum Hanna, the one that got the RHS award, that's got spikes starting now as well. So that's coming along. Come on, let go. Right, that's that, and that. You can go right back up there. As I say, this is it is a good show, but it's not ready yet. So it's going to miss this competition, but I'll make sure I get a good picture of that for the next month's. The Jenkinsii's big sister. Can I get this down without bashing the spikes? So, that was a leaf scraping down the glass. Shall I do the fingernails on the blackboard? It was very similar, wasn't it? Right, this is Lindleyi, which is Jenkinsii's big sister or big brother, however you want to put it. I've only got 3 spikes this year. I was expecting more, given all these nice big fat new canes over this side of the plant. But the spikes are coming out of older growths. Except that one, I think that's coming out of I can't remember which ones were last year's growths now. But hopefully there'll be a few more next year. But they are going to have a lot of blooms on. I mean, these are good spikes. So it's going to be a good show, even though it is only three spikes. That would be much easier to photograph, because I can get the whole plant and the spikes in, rather than the nester. But nester's colours just steal it. And the thing is with Lindleyi, or aggregatum as it was once called, actually it was called that for a very long time, incorrectly in my opinion, but quite honestly this is common as muck. Everybody's got an aggregatum or a Lindleyi. Far less people have got Jenkinsii. So if both were in bloom at the same time, the Jenkinsii would go in the competition, simply because less people have got it. It's a less common plant. I mean, I could put the apple blossom in, but again, that's in the EU, or UK as it is. Used to be part of the EU, obviously. Apple blossom is quite common. It's and it is a hybrid. There's 1.5 judges out of the 4 that are not keen on hybrids. Wrongly, but that's how their minds work. They don't, they see the store-bought phalaenopsis as, they don't even see those as proper orchids. They see them as orchid weeds. Don't even see them as proper orchids. Whereas I do. They're perfectly good orchids, and some people, that's all they can grow. So if it wasn't for those, they wouldn't grow orchids, and we'd lose an orchid person. So I'm not having any of that. They're perfectly good orchids. What else? Oh, we've got hang on. So that was the tail end of the bottle from yesterday. Actually, from the day before. It's a bit of a leg kicker. We got a Tolumnia with a spike. Yay! About flipping time. And look at the growth it's coming out of. It's immature. Hybrids behave in different ways. Some of them will not produce a spike until they're fully mature. Now, this one hasn't even opened its leaves properly yet and it's starting to spike. That is Tulumnia Mocha Dot. And that was one of the 4 that came from in the Schwerter order. I can't remember whether that's one of the ones I actually ordered or one of the ones that was part of my birthday present that hitched a ride in the Schwerter order. But anyway, we got a spike on one of them. About flipping time too. They are coming on okay. I mean, this is probably the largest of the ones from that order. As that's quite a good plant. And something happened to that leaf. Unknown. I haven't got a clue what happened there. But it's growing okay. Maybe this will bloom soon. Now that's obviously been grown, that's not a division, that's been grown on from a seedling. Yeah, so it's probably never bloomed, and we'll, you know, I'll be the first bloomer for that one. And what else did I want to show you? Can I get at it? No. Somebody has bought the or taken the Farmer Eye cross with Griffithianum, and I was going to take great delight in getting that out today and showing the spike, so that by the time they get it they'll have a maturing spike to look forward to. And a flipping slug's taken it off. When I watered it today, it's gone. The spike's been eaten off at the base. Grr! So there's still some in here. So when I get a chance, I'm going to go around with a few more slug pellets, and that's on a plant that hasn't come from Derek or Jeff's. Jeff's was the place full of slugs. Where else did I see some blooms? This will be a first time bloomer. This is one of Jeff's plants, and this is actually quite a nice plant. And this is doing its root thing. That's pushing out a lot of roots. Some are going down in the pot, but some of them seem to quite like running around the top. But some are going down, and if you look in there, if you can see that root there, that root's been eaten off. The top of it, the tip's gone. There's no other reason for that tip to be missing. These are all brand new roots, and I can see another one down in there with the root tip missing. So there's some still in here, so I think I'm going to go round with the slug pellets. I can put a few more round on the floor, because I put water on the floor quite often to help with humidity, and those have disappeared basically. But I'll sprinkle a few in some of the pots as well, I think, and there's certainly going to be some. I can see 3 roots on this plant that have had the ends chewed off. Now that could be that the slug's in the pot. It could be that it's under the pot and comes out at night, or just inside the holes at the bottom of the pots. But it could be in the pot next door. But what I hope it doesn't get at, if I can find it, is that flower spike. So whatever this is, I'll have to find the label. This is, oh my god, Anachilium pachycephalum. I think I've said that right. If I hold it still, it should focus. Okay, read it your flipping self. It's quite a mouthful, and I've never heard of that. Anachilium, or Chelium, possibly CH. Seems to please itself in certain words, whether it's a ch or a k. But it's got blooms on, so we'll see what they look like soon. That'll be nice. Yeah. One of Jeff's. What else did I spot while I was going round? Not really much else, I don't think, today. I mean, we must have a look at this. This is Oncidium. Oncidium chrysomorphum. And this came as a rootless plant from Zana as a gift. It's grown roots, more than happy with the root system, and it's currently got 4 spikes. I'd have to take the camera off the stand because I doubt if I'll be able to hold this still enough for you to see, and the light is coming from this side, not this side. These colours on here are difficult to explain because it's not pure yellow. These are not yellow blooms, they have yellow parts. Basically the lip, you're not going to be able to see a single bloom close enough. I'll have to do a close-up at some point, but I can describe it. The lip, tiny little blooms obviously, the lip has parts at the end, so it's got like 2 lobes on the end of it, which is nice, makes a nice shape, and that is pure yellow. And then you've got the 3 sepals are nearly yellow, and the petals are a bronzy yellow colour with almost a tinge of brown with the yellow. It's a very difficult colour to describe, and without doing a real close-up on it, which I will have to do, but I mean, I thought about that, putting that into the competition, but you know, a close-up of part of one of those spikes doesn't do the plant justice, and it doesn't show that it's got 4 spikes on the go. If I take a picture of the whole plant, it's just going to have yellow dots on a stick. I wouldn't be able to do that justice. So no, unfortunately. And I'd never heard of that plant before it arrived from Zana, so I don't think it's a very common species. I don't think there would be a lot of people that would have that somehow or other. Zygo blooms are still in there. First blooms to open are still looking good, so it's still hanging in there. The blah 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 spectabile is going. 2 blooms are fading fast, so that spike will be gone soon. I didn't see any more surprises. I won't do an update, but the project Miltonias, where we've got the 2 almost identical plants that are getting fed differently, they had a feed today. One had the regular feed like all the other pots, and the other one was left to one side until I'd finished, and then the water that I had left I put some more feed in to actually bump up the feed on that one. So that project has started properly now, where obviously they'll still get a flush now and again, probably every other watering in fact this year, but the feeds are going to be at least half as much again for one of them, let's put it that way, and the other one will get the standard feed. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, not much else going on, I don't think. Not really. Nope. I think things are just okay, and there are some things that are not okay, but they've been not okay for a very long time, so they haven't changed. I will say that since repotting some of these cooler growers, I mean, that is only a Masdevallia hybrid. It was potted slightly wonky, that's why there's more leaves on one side than the other. But if you have a look at the top of the plant, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new growths, plus this one that's got a leaf effectively. So 6 new growths have come on this plant recently, and it's starting to produce roots. I can see roots going down into the pot in several places, and some of the existing roots have started to grow. Difference, it's got the cocoa husk in it. It's not all cocoa husk, it's my mix. So cocoa husk, Burnham's bark and charcoal. Now that plant's growing. Now that hasn't been doing that for some considerable time. There's another one down here as well. And this one I almost threw away. Yeah, this nearly went out the door, this one. Don't need that stake anymore. Come out. And this is a Dracuvalia, and it's a letter page. virtually went in the bin, but got repotted in the aforementioned mix. We now have some new growths. It's coming back to life. There's another 2 down in there. I suppose I could try and lift it out, couldn't I? Don't you come out of the pot, you tyke. Yes, so down in here we've got a new growth, 2 new leaves here. So it's coming back to life. Don't see any sign of root growth yet, but the new growths will produce roots. It's just a matter of getting it to grow. So I think that's managed to have been rescued. I mean, it's a long way off blooming yet, because this is actually quite a large plant. Well, it should be. It's not, but it should be. So that's that. Yeah, not much else up there. No, I think as far as progress, you know, things that are changing, not much really. This one up here, that will be a first time bloomer, this is a black hair type, and this is, I need a new label, Coriniferum, and the blooms are swelling nicely now, and this one's got a tinge of colour on it. I'm still not quite sure. I think these are a greeny creamy colour with an orange centre, but we have a nice fat new growth coming, so a nice new cane to grow on, which should be at least as big as this one. These were the 2 canes that were on it when I bought it. This I grew, this is last season's growth, and now we've got a new one starting, so that'll be good. So a healthy black hair type. And this one has got a few scale on it, and I deal with them every time I pick it up, which being a mount is every 2 days. It's not been sprayed, I just take them off manually, and eventually they will run out of steam. Simple as that. Because if I take them off before they become adults, they can't breed. So eventually I'll get them all, and they do show up nicely. You know, being white on a dark green and black hair type plant, so we should. I don't know how long before those blooms are open, but I don't think it's going to be too long now. And the blooms have a triangular cross section. And when you look at them from the end, they've got 3 distinct sides coming to a point. That's unusual as buds go. Went to water all the Miltoniopsis today. The hybrid, which is the newest one really. This was a speciotic plants one, I think. We've got root growth coming down into the pot on here. So this one's taking off, and it has a new growth here pushing on nicely, and another little one pushing on here, and both of those have got roots coming out at the base. So this one is you know, doing reasonably well. All the others, I went to water them and they're still wet from last time, 9 days ago. They don't have roots. They're not doing very well. So, so all you people who've gone for either one of the yellow ones or whoever got the dark one, you're not getting a good plant. But hopefully they're in a mix that should work for them, and hopefully if you can keep them cool and get them in an environment where they're happier than here, you may do well with them. They may start growing roots, but they haven't done yet. Signs, but no, I wouldn't say there's root growth, not yet. Hopefully soon. But here, obviously, I'm starting to get the temperatures. So, and we seem to have a whole set of sunny days at the moment. It's done it again. I think this is either the 3rd or the 4th year running where we've had no rain in the spring, when all the plants are trying to grow. Some people have gone up to the Purbex to see the early spider orchids on the hillsides up there. They're starting to shrivel. And some of them haven't even opened their flowers yet. We've had no rain for 3 or 4 weeks now, and there's none in the forecast of this part of the world. There is no rain as far as the forecast goes, and we haven't had any for at least 3 weeks. And it's been doing this year in, year out, just a dry spring when everything should be pushing on and growing, you know. So it messes up the wildlife, messes up the early butterflies. They come out and there's no flipping flowers for them. They're all shriveled up. So And obviously with the wild orchids and everything, if they don't set seed, then that cuts their population right down. You get, traditionally, it should be April showers, not a light. Not even shower without an S. I think I'll show this again. This is one of Derek's. This didn't come round to get repotted. Now I'm pleased with this one because I can see 2 or 3 green root tips on the surface here. So this one's got roots, and it's a very, very attractive bloom. That's a typical odontoglossum type, but it's probably got cochleoda in it because of the deep colours. But this is a, typical, the one that's in bloom's a no ID. Got no name for this one. The chances of getting an exact match on this are pretty slim, but it's a lovely bloom. And at least I know what it looks like, even though it hasn't got a name. And it's got roots, so when I repot this one. See, now this has been grown on from a seedling. If you look here, you've got 2 tiny little pseudobulbs, and then a slightly bigger one, and the latest, well, I wouldn't say it's a large pseudobulb, but the latest one has actually managed to produce a spike. Chances are if I'd been growing that, I'd have taken that spike off and let the plant get a bit more strength. But that's how it came to me. So would be nice to have a name for it, I suppose. But gorgeous blooms, very attractive. In the intergenerics with all their flashy names, half of which are not valid anymore because of the reclassifications, that was probably a Wilsonara, or it may have been an Odontodia. It's difficult to tell, but very attractive nonetheless. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, my Glomerata that nearly got thrown out. I mean, this really went in on the dining room table to go out in the next lot, and then it just decided to start to grow. And you've got 4 canes there now. You've got a little tiny one down here, and then 3 that are, they're pushing on. And we have the start of a root system reforming. So, so threaten it with the bin, and it decides to grow. I spent 2 years not flipping growing. Anyway, I think it'll be saved now. And that's just reminded me there is something else up here I wanted to show you. Because this will be in bloom very soon now, and this is a nobly type Dendrobium Comet King. We've got 3 really good buds about to, well actually they're not about to bloom I don't think, because they are quite large blooms, so they may grow on a bit yet. And the other cane from last year has also got a couple of buds pushing on. Yeah, that came as a kiki from Rachel. This is its first time blooming, and already we've got at least 1 new growth coming at the base. There's a green nub in here. There's also a swelling here. It might push out 2. 2 would be good, but nice root system on there around the back, growing tips everywhere, and about to come into bloom. So that basically, although that lives up here, bright light for the winter, being a nobly type, it doesn't need that bright light through the summer, and it certainly doesn't need the buds touching the roof getting frazzled. We've brought it down a bit. It's not quite up on the roof now. Yeah, so I think that'll do for today. As I say, it's just a quick look round really, no subject as such. My Psychopsis on the mount is dying. It's lost 2 leaves this week. This one's about to go. This is its latest growth and its latest leaf. It's not hydrating. It's got so few roots, if any, that are any good. So for once, it's going to have to come off of the mount and go in a pot because it's not hydrating. It's shrivelling. All the bulbs are badly desiccated. Leaves are dying. I'm going to lose the whole plant soon if I'm not careful. So I think that can come out and go in a small pot with the very finely chopped up cocoa husk, the really, the tiny version of it, not big bits, and just get some sort of moisture around the base of the plant. Now when I first got this, the new growths kept rotting off, so I thought it was getting too wet at the base. Well, that stopped happening. I mean, as I said, I've got one growth that's managed to form a bulb and keep its leaf. So if I don't do something with that very soon, I shall lose it. So we will do something with it very soon. Now the other thing I was going to say is the Dracula Bella, which also got potted up in the cocoa husk. Try and keep that a bit moister. We have something finally poking out halfway down. Now it could be a root, could be a spike. I don't know. There's no sign of any other activity inside the pot, but we do have quite a few new growths coming up at the top. There's 1, 2, 3 at the base. This one's pushing on here. So it is growing, and new growths equals new roots. And over this side of the plant, it did actually push some roots out not long after it was potted. They've gone down into the centre of the pot at the moment, so they're not showing on the outside at all. It's probably better that they stay in the centre because they dry up a bit on the outside. But it's growing, and yeah, new growths, several new leaves, and something poking out the side. We shall see. If it's a spike, it may well do exactly what it did last year, and get to the point where the bud forms and then the bud will blast. It did that all through the summer season last year. Then it got repotted, and in the winter when it would have been cooler and the bud might have been okay, it didn't produce any spikes because it had just been repotted. I think we got the timing a bit wrong on that. But if I hadn't repotted it, I might have lost the plant. So there we go. So that's Sunday done. Tomorrow you've got a what most will think of as a rubbish video. It's just a look and a chat at my latest cocoa husk. I've had to open a new bag and the soaking process and all that sort of stuff. Boring. But that's tomorrow's video because I'm really busy tomorrow. I've got to go out, I've got to fill the car, get something for lunch for Tuesday. I've got some watering to do. I've got things to do tomorrow, so I'm quite busy. So I didn't want to worry about filming and processing a video tomorrow, so there's one ready to go. As I say, it's just a short look at me doing the cocoa husk really. And then Tuesday, obviously I'll be filming at Burnham's, and depending on what I film, how much, how long, and what time I get back, I may be able to put like a part 1 up Tuesday evening. So I call it evening, but like for most of the people in the States, that's sort of morning or lunchtime or something. So that would be a good time to post a video from Burnham's. But we'll see how we go. But that'll do for today. And just remember to charge my battery up. It's weird, isn't it? I've got 217 minutes left on this battery. The other battery, when fully charged, was about 150 minutes. And this is probably the 7th or 8th video I've filmed. And still got more charge on it. It's still over half. I'm well pleased with that. A good buy that was, despite being 32 quid. It's saving me worrying about the battery keep going flat. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. I haven't said this for a long time, but if you're watching this and you've got to this stage and you're not subscribed, it would be nice if you did so. Don't cost you anything, there's no fee. It's just a duff word, isn't it? Subscribe sounds like you pay like an annual subscription. That's where the word subscription comes from. And not on YouTube, you subscribe. All it means is that when that person posts a video, if you switch the notifications on, you'll get told. If you have your own YouTube channel, you would have a subscriptions page where you see everybody's videos that you're subscribed to on a page when they're posted, which is how I work. Yeah, and if you like the video, stick the thumbs up. It all helps with the channel, the progress on the channel. I've had a lull. since I clicked over 11,200 subscribers, which is smashing, don't get me wrong, it's gone really slowly from that point, and over the last week or so it's slowed down to virtually a standstill. So there's hardly any new subscribers at all. But I'm getting quite a few new people leaving comments. So maybe they just, they're leaving comments and haven't subscribed. So think about doing so if you haven't already. It would be nice. And it's appreciated. And it helps the channel gain momentum, basically. So all good stuff. And as I said, I've got a rubbish video for tomorrow. Well, some people might like it, but it's not plants, it's just potting media stuff and a chat about that. And then Tuesday I'm at Burnham, so I won't be loading a video on Tuesday. And we'll see where we go from there. And then I'll have whatever I film at Burnham. So we'll have a look around the nursery, have a look around the private section and the sales area, all that sort of stuff. And I can make inquiries as to whether Sarah is going to attempt to get Orchid Paradise back up and running, because of the fact that she's had to stay closed so much and can only open restricted hours, can't get the cafe open yet or anything. She's not up and running properly, and therefore she can't pay all the staff to be in because the customers aren't there. And without that, she can't get the Orchid Paradise up and running. So, last time I went in there, it was just full of dead leaves. No plants, they've all been removed. But hopefully it can be got back up and running for what would be the summer season, when hopefully the customers will really start steaming back in, because it will be open properly and up and running, which would be good. But I shall see it in whatever state it's in on Tuesday, and we'll go from there. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by. I had a joke, and I've been waffling drastically trying to think what the hell was the joke. It's gone. You're not having one. It's completely gone. No, it's gone. I'll have to start writing them down, won't I? I might get into that stage where I've got to start writing stuff down. I really do hope not. See you next time. Thanks for dropping by.